Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Ultimate Bucket List, and today, we're on my patch.
Manchester United, one of the most famous football clubs in all the free world. But what's it like to go to an actual game?
Now, it never really occurred to me to make a video about something that I've done hundreds of times. I'm a former season ticket holder here, and I never really thought to actually make a video about this, but I suppose there's a lot of people around the world that want to know what it's like to go to a Manchester United game. And this is your all-encompassing guide to what to do when you're here watching a game at Manchester United.
Firstly, you're going to need some tickets. The best way to do this is actually go on the website. Now, you'll need to be a member before you actually buy tickets, and tickets are usually on a first come first served basis, unless it's a really big game and then they put you in a ballot. You can actually try and take your chances here at the ticket office on game day, but more often than not, you'll be turned away. To do this, all you have to do is ask the clerk whether or not they've actually got tickets, and I actually managed to get the final tickets of the day, but it's right up there in the north stand. If you do want to take your chances, the ticket office is right on the end of the northwest section of the stadium, literally in a separate building. There's plenty of things to do here at Old Trafford. You can have your photos taken with trophies, visit the Munich Tunnel, which is an exhibit about the Munich disaster. You can let your kids have a run around and a kick around on a pitch. And you can also meet a legend. Let's see who you can meet today. Oh crap, it's Wes Brown. Okay, yeah, let's go meet him. The queues to meet a legend can be quite lengthy, but once you're through...
Hey Wes, how's it going, man? You alright?
Okay.
Yeah, good.
What camera is this?
This is a DJI.
He was actually kind enough to sign the picture of himself and me, which is awfully nice of him. But why do I look so drunk in this picture? Man, I'm not actually drunk, by the way, I just don't come across well in pictures. It may be worthwhile just having a walk around the stadium, as you never know what you might bump into, such as the Holy Trinity statue here on the east end of the stadium, and here at the east end, it provides you some excellent photo opportunities. Whilst we're here on the east side of the stadium, this is also home to the Megastore. This is the famous Manchester United shop, and it's great to go into, but bear in mind that the prices here are about 10% more expensive than everywhere else, so you are going to get ripped off if you buy anything from this shop. As you can imagine, it gets quite crowded as well, so bear in mind that you might be crammed in like a sardine to pay for your merchandise, but overall, if you don't mind paying over the odds for merchandise, this is actually a decent place to shop. If you don't want to buy merchandise from the Megastore, there's lots of sellers outside that will sell you fake merchandise, but more often than not, it's not worth the money. Obviously, now that you've got your ticket, you need to get here. And Manchester United's football ground here at Old Trafford is in a strange place between an industrial estate and a housing estate. It was never designed to take this sort of volume. You can either walk to Old Trafford, park at one of the official car parks, but you might not get back out. More on that later. The most convenient way is through the Metrolink system, the trams. This is the most convenient way. It has about 4 stops that serve Old Trafford, but if it gets crowded, it can be quite an unpleasant journey. They're actually making new metro stops around the stadium to combat this problem. Believe it or not, a lot of people don't know this, but Manchester United has its own train station. You can actually get special trains that will take you from one of the main train stations here in Manchester to Manchester United Football Ground train station, which will take you directly into the South Stand. More often than not, the times are inconsistent, and for some reason it wasn't even actually opened on this day. Finally, you could park for free in some of the side streets around the stadium, but as you can imagine, these spaces go by extremely quickly. Okay, so you've got here and you've got your tickets. Now it's time to eat and drink. And there's no shortage of places where you can get food such as curry, hot dogs, pizzas, Mexican food, or pretty much everything you fancy outside the stadium. If you go further afield, there's plenty of places to eat there as well, so you won't starve to death here in Manchester. If you want a drink, there's several places where all the hardened season ticket holders go, such as the Trafford, Hotel Football, which is home to the Old Trafford Supporters Club, and this long queue belongs to the Bishop Blaze. Oh, and by the way, these three places you'll need a match ticket to get in, because if you don't have one, you'll be turned away just like this couple. But overall, these are where the hardened season ticket holders go. If you don't want anything as intimidating as that, head towards the Lowry, which is basically a shopping mall. They've got cool drinkeries such as the Craft Brew, the Lime Bar, and there's plenty of places inside the shopping mall to eat because, quite frankly, it's a shopping mall. And you generally don't get the hooligan types here. You can even shop before you go to the game as well. And seeing as though it's Christmas, there's plenty of places to kind of buy your Christmas gifts as well. So that's kind of nice. You've done your shopping, you've got your tickets, and you're here. Now it's time to actually go inside the stadium. And one thing you'll notice about this shot, there's a police officer or security guard every 10 yards. They take security very seriously here, and you'll be bag checked even before you enter the vicinity of the stadium. So check that your bags aren't too big and you're not carrying anything dangerous, because they don't need much of an excuse to arrest you here in Manchester. And before you get to the turnstiles, obviously you'll be security checked before you even go in, but once you've actually gone through the turnstiles, be prepared to walk up a crapload of stairs. Old Trafford is a very old stadium and elevators are rare, so more often than not you'll be climbing a bollock load of stairs in order to get to your seat. Seriously, I'm not kidding, there's a lot of these stairs. The concourses up here are fairly basic, and if you get hungry or thirsty, you can still eat or drink here, but the prices are pretty damn extortionate. And by the way, here's what the stadium looks like without many people in it. This video shows that this stadium looks kind of small, but it holds 76,000 people, so it's fairly hefty.
So guys, I'm literally right here at the back, the farthest seats away from the pitch, and this is what the view looks like. As you can tell, it's a bit far away. You probably can't read the numbers on the back of the shirts, but hey, it's still not a bad view.
So let me tell you whereabouts to sit. Over there is the Stretford end. This is where all the hardened season ticket supporters sit. If you do sit here, you'll be standing most of the game. Over there on the far end, that's the South stand. This gives you the best view of Old Trafford, but it's also the most expensive and the atmosphere is pretty dull. We're here in the North stand, which is a happy medium between the two, and over there with the Adidas logo, that's the East stand. It's pretty much the family stand here at Old Trafford, but you're literally right next to the away supporters who sit in that far corner. If you can get tickets to the South stand, I highly recommend it because that's the best view, and if you can avoid it, don't sit in the North stand top tier like I'm sitting at right now. Especially when the weather's bad, this place acts like a wind tunnel, and it can get quite cold and uncomfortable up here, so if you can get to the lower half of Old Trafford, that's probably the best view you're going to get. And I'm sat next to this guy right here. Yay! The seats here are kind of tiny, and you'll probably be needing somebody in the back here, or sharing your personal space with a complete stranger. Well, at least this guy's going to keep me warm. Most people come to the stadium early to watch the teams warm up, but bear in mind they only step on the field 30 minutes before kickoff, so there's no point arriving like an hour beforehand. Anyway, once it gets closer to kickoff, the stadium fills up and it's full of raucous fans now. The view from up here in the North stand isn't that bad, you can still see plenty of stuff up here. Oh, there's an Aston Villa player already on the floor. Come on, you get up. There we go. The game atmosphere is actually kind of decent. To be honest, I was busy filming when I realised that they'd actually scored a goal. I actually completely missed this one. 1-0 Villa. From this video shot, you can actually see how vast this stadium is and how steep the upper areas are. If you're scared of heights, sitting up here is probably not the best idea, so try and go for a low ball seat if you can. But hey, Manchester United have just levelled up, so all things considering, going 1 goal apiece into halftime is actually a good result. This game was actually quite entertaining, albeit very frustrating if you're a Manchester United fan, because we understand that this team can do a lot better than what they're performing at right now. You probably won't get bored of watching Manchester United here, especially if you get a decent seat, and especially if they score. So yeah, that's kind of fun. And they've just equalised literally 2 minutes later. Yay, fantastic. Anyway, the game actually ended up finishing 2-2. All things considering, that's actually a good result, but it was a very winnable game. Tip for you, leave about 3 minutes before the final whistle and you won't be stuck in the stairwell behind a whole bunch of fans. You actually get to, move. But I highly recommend that you escape early anyway to avoid the crowds, especially outside the stadium. When it's night, like it is right now, and when there's crowds of people, it can get quite disorientating. So leave early, mainly to avoid the crowds, but also so that you know where you're going. There's no obvious landmarks around Old Trafford, so if I were you, memorise the way you came and literally go the same way back to wherever, because it's very easy to get lost. And this is the reason why you don't park at the stadium. You'll literally be in standstill traffic for anywhere up to 90 minutes, so if I were you, and if you are driving, park about a mile away from the stadium. Because the traffic is a lot more free-flowing, kind of like this. It's still slow, but at least you'll be moving.
Even if you leave the match early and get to your car, there's no guarantee that you're still not going to be stuck in traffic. Here in Manchester is some of the worst traffic in the country, especially around the M60, so don't be surprised, even if you leave the match early, that you'll be stuck in a queue like this. Yeah, this is a roundabout that I've been stood on for about 5 minutes, so yeah.
But overall guys, I highly recommend that you do it once in your life, but be prepared because it's a big stadium, it's very popular, but there's obviously a lot of things that a lot of people don't know about before they come here, so hopefully you've taken my words of advice to heart.
Okay Nin, I'm sold. What do I do? Well, you need to come here to Old Trafford. Like I mentioned in the video, it's in a funny position in between a housing estate and an industrial estate, so traffic links are a bit of a pain in the backside. I've given you all 3 options as to how to get here, but bear in mind, no way is absolutely perfect. The cost of the tickets here at Manchester United have risen sharply over the last few years, and I gotta admit, they're not the cheapest things in the world. If you're coming here regularly, apply for a season ticket, but you'll be lucky if you actually get one. Prices range from about £40 to £60 per game, and that's probably the cheapest thing you'll buy on the day. If you add the cost of food, souvenirs, etc., it could be a very expensive day out. Is there anything else I need to know? Yeah, there's actually quite a few things that you'll need to know. Firstly, it's absolutely packed. Old Trafford can hold 76,000 on a match day, and as you can imagine, it can get quite busy, so expect to see lots of tourists around, but in general, it's actually quite a nice, safe atmosphere. There's a police officer or security person literally every 10 yards, so there's no chance of trouble ever breaking out. Watch out for the people selling you inauthentic merchandise on the streets. Yeah, you could buy it if you want to, but to be honest, more often than not, it's not worth the money. Now, when you're leaving the stadium, usually it's night, and there's no obvious landmarks around here at Old Trafford to kind of direct you on your way. So the best thing to do when you're getting out of here is memorise the way you came and literally go the same way back. It'll save you getting lost in the crowd. Guys, if you have enjoyed this episode, please be sure to like, share and subscribe. Comment on the comment section below, and if I get enough suggestions for other bucket list ideas, feel free to tweet them at me of course. If I get enough suggestions for another idea, I'll be sure to go ahead and do that. So guys, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode. Yeah, good.
What camera is this?
This is a DJI Osmo. It's a little teeny weeny pocket camera. Yeah, so you can actually do stuff. Hey dude, whilst you're here, just say like, share and subscribe on that.
That's what?